to other people's events and supporting other real estate investor events throughout the region. So, but the podcast, we're going to stay live first and third Sunday, every Sunday morning, 9 a.m., providing education, networking, and strategy. So let's get started here in just a few minutes here, and we'll get some people in here. We're going to have a great discussion today. Really excited about this. We're going to go depth in discussion of why small multifamily properties 5 through 20 are becoming strategic sweet spots. In today's evolving real estate market, experienced investors are finding that small multifamily properties are offering a compelling balance of scalability. Hold on one second. I got to invite another moderator up here. And cash flow, financing flexibility, and long-term wealth building potential. In this episode, we're going to discuss why 5 to 20 unit properties are attracting increased investor attention, current financing strategies for acquisitions, burst projects, and value-add opportunities, and how underwriting differs from 1 to 4 residential investments, key operational advantages and risks investors should evaluate, practical insights to help you identify and capitalize on opportunities in today's market. Whether you're looking to grow beyond single-family rentals or optimizing an existing portfolio, this conversation will provide actionable strategies to help you make informed investment decisions. And thank you for joining us. We're going to look forward to having a great discussion. Before we dive into today's topic, let's talk a few minutes to catch up on what's been happening across the real estate and private lending markets since our last podcast. It's been another week where we've seen more opportunities than headlines may suggest. While many buyers remain focused on interest rates, experienced investors are continuing to focus on fundamentals, buying well, creating value, and structuring deals that produce strong cash flow. Across many markets, we're seeing inventory gradually improving, creating more acquisition opportunities. Sellers becoming increasingly open to negotiations, credits, and creative structures. Private lending and DSCR financing remaining active for well-qualified investors and financeable deals. Investors placing greater emphasis on operational efficiency, conservative underwriting, and long-term portfolio growth rather than really relying solely on appreciation. We're also continuing to see strong interest in value-add multifamily, build-to-rent communities, and rental housing as affordable challenges keep demand for quality rental units elevated. On the financing side, lenders continue to reward borrowers who become prepared with realistic projections, adequate reserves, solid liquidity, and clearly defined exit strategies. In today's market, execution and preparation often matter more than simply chasing the lower interest rate. One trend worth watching is the continual migration of experienced investors away from highly competitive assets and toward properties where they can create value through better management, renovations, improved operations, or strategic repositioning. The bottom line, this is a market always evolving. Successor investors evolve with them. Those who remain disciplined, continue building relationships, and underwriting conservatively are consistently finding opportunities that others overlook. Now, with the market update, let's transition today into the discussion of small balance multifamily properties, particularly those with like 5 to 20 units, becoming one of the more attractive investment properties in today's market. And why is small balance properties becoming such a strategic sweet spot, right? For many investors, the conversation has traditionally centered around single-family rentals or large apartment complexes. But today, we're seeing a growing number of experienced investors gravitate toward the middle of the market, properties with 5 to 20 units. These assets often strike an attractive balance between scalability and manageability. They can provide stronger and cash flow potential than small residential properties while remaining more accessible and less competitive than institutional-grade apartment communities. We'll explore what is driving this trend, how financing and underwriting differ from 1 to 4 properties, what operational considerations investors should understand, and where we believe opportunities may exist in today's market. As always, our goal is always to tell you what not to buy or what to buy. It's provide practical insights with that you help you make better investment decisions, ask the right questions, and build a portfolio that aligns with your long-term goals. Before we jump into discussion, we're going to get, I want to always recognize our moderator in just a minute, but Yordell, good morning and welcome. Brief thoughts to the podcast this week and what's going on with you and social media and our podcast. Nobody thinks about the 3 or the 4 unit, and nobody really they get real nervous when we're talking about a 5+ unit. I don't know why they get nervous about it. I think it's a great market. That's where our family's been involved with for years, and I have found it cost benefit. And to be honest with you, I really feel like it treats everything like a business. So I appreciate you coming on today. Any insights, anything we got coming up? With any updates to our websites, designs, marketing, anything going on there? I know we got AI video coming soon, right? Well, I will make a little announcement for us. Thank you, Yardell, for leading me into that. Um, so, being Senior Vice President of Business Development at Built Lending, nationwide direct private lender, we're going through a social media transition for the employees by enhancing their social media brand and presence. Ownership has allowed me to put together a game plan with Yordell for each individual loan originator, giving them literally lighting up their billboards. Okay. And we're going to create an organic way of lead gen of bringing deals in. So, Yordell, I wanted you to kind of give a little thought to that. And that's not just for the real estate loan officer, that could be for any type of real estate professional. Pretty much looking forward to this. This is going to be a great way of going into the next quarter. And thank you, Yardell, for being part of this whole transition for the company itself. We are also offering white label referral programs for real estate agents and professionals. We have white label for mortgage brokers or mortgage correspondents. And then direct to investor, you're getting wholesale pricing. So, Yardell, thank you for coming on this morning. No problem. So we're going to get back to why small multifamily properties, 5 to 20 units, are becoming a strategic sweet spot. The asset class is increasingly attractive because it combines many of the benefits of commercial real estate with the flexibility and accessibility that many investors need in today's market. Better risk diversification. The key takeaway will be lower income volatility, more predictable cash flow, and greater operational stability. Growing demand for workforce housing, working professionals, young families, seniors, essential workers, first-time renters. These demographics trend to continue to support occupancy in many markets. Less institutional competition. Large investment funds typically pursue 100+ unit complexes, large portfolios, institutional acquisitions. The 5 to 20 space often remains dominated by local investors, creating opportunities to negotiate directly with owners and uncover off-market deals. Strong value add potential. Many properties in this category have been owned for decades. Common opportunities include under-market rents, deferred maintenance, poor property management, utility inefficiencies, and operational improvements. Increasing NOI, not simply waiting for appreciation, can significantly increase property value. The commercial valuation benefits, rental income, expense management, occupancy, and investors can directly influence the property's value. This gives owners much more control over equity creation. And financing has become way more flexible. Today's lending environment offers numerous options, including DSCR financing, bridge loans, stabilization financing, portfolio loans, agency financing, community bank lending. Investors can offer match financing to their specific business plan. easier to scale than single family portfolios. Instead of managing 20 roofs, 20 driveways, 20 lawns, 20 insurance policies, an investor may control similar unit counts under one roof with centralized operations. Benefits include lower maintenance costs, simplified management, improved efficiency, greater economies of scale, and then there's always attractive exit strategies. Owners maintain flexibility by selling to individual investors, private equity groups, syndicators, local operators, and 1031 exchange buyers. Multiple exit options can improve long-term investment flexibility. Operational efficiency creates wealth. Small operational improvements compound into meaningful long-term returns. Demographic trends continue to support demand. Several long-term trends favor this asset class. Housing affordability challenges, limited new workforce housing, rising home ownership costs, population shifts towards secondary markets, continued rental demand. These dynamics are supporting occupancy and rent growth over time through outcomes varied by market. So we're going to get into this with our moderators. Good morning, guys and gals. Bob, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to small multifamily properties, 5 to 20, strategic sweet spot.
Hey, good morning, Joe. My name is Bob Chasek, Residential Corporation and subsidiary. These operations.
Bob, thank you as always. And you gave me some great thoughts to kind of push out there. One, that 5 to 20 space is probably the most neglected investor base of opportunities. Two, now from an entity perspective, I would highly recommend if you're going to buy a 5 through say 10 unit or 15 unit, you use a specific special purpose LLC for that property only. Okay, so you would have to create special purpose entities for those individual properties. But this is the best part. Bob brought up the team of experts, and we've talked about this multiple times over the years. It's much easier to assemble a team of experts for a 5+ unit to 20 unit than a 1 to 4 unit. And why would I say that? When you call up a plumber, an HVAC person, roofer, they know that they're going to see more business from you from a multifamily building perspective than a single family through 4 family perspective. If there's one leaky toilet in a single family, you might get a call once every couple of years. In a 5 unit or a 10 unit, you have the odds of doing more business with that individual investor landlord on a consistent basis. Not saying it's a money pit, but they know that you're a little savvier than the average investor. But two, the team of experts respect a 5+ unit environment. It's just a natural progression of growth. Now, on a 5 to 10 unit right now in the DSCR space, we're not looking for experience resume. It's about having the right amount of money to put down, which is average about 25%, and underwriting the property correctly on a 30-year amortized loan, up to 75% loan to value. Or if it's a bridge loan, maybe up to 80 to 85% on purchase and 100% on the repairs, and up to 70% loan to value on the after repair value. So there's unique opportunities for value add with a very strong leverage, or there's a very strong leverage with very limited documentation, meaning you just need to show a bank statement, soft pull on the credit of the business partners in the LLC, the insurance, the taxes, the leases, the repairs if it's a value add or rehab, what the evaluated new value if it's a value add, like the after repair value stabilized. Don't look at the cap rate as much as the DSCR of the property and the income approach, because a 5 through 10 unit is completely different per se than a 1 to 4 unit. Okay, you're going to just see things differently. And on a 5 to 10 unit, that's been our bread and butter in our business, our family business for years. And we just have found such a better respect by our team of experts and build out of teams quickly in new markets than a single family through 4 family. Like if I was going to go into an unknown territory of a market, I could build and assemble a team much quicker on a 5 to 10 unit than a 1 to 4 unit. That's a fact. For the out-of-state landlord, assembling that team is very important. Knowing your market is very important. Understanding who is the right person to put in place is quick, because you're immediately in a business with a multifamily building. In a 5 unit, you're making X amount of dollars per year, not hopefully worrying about 1 unit being empty. Okay, if 1 family's empty, you're paying the mortgage. If 1 unit's empty in a 5 unit, you're not paying the mortgage. The other rents are still covering your nut. So it's a very unique environment. And it's the best part about I found from multifamily ownership is the smart techniques, putting in keypad entry in the Bilco doors and the regular doors, the maintenance of the roof and the mechanics of the property, hardwood floors, granite countertops. You can put a better grade of renovations into these properties, because that tenant's going to stay there a little longer by moving into that type of environment. Okay, the average single family unit tenant might not stay as long as somebody that's staying in a 5 unit 2 or 3 bedroom, depending on the market you're in. Is it near a bus station or a train station? Is it convenient to shopping? How is the educational base in those markets? So if you get a good educational base, a 5 unit, you're going to have 5 solid tenants in 2 or 3 bedroom apartments. If you got a 2 bedroom apartment, a house you're going to probably have a higher turnover and more transition costs. So to add to what Bob has brought up, very important with the team of experts when it comes to a multifamily building, the pricing and the capability of lending is just as easy as a 1 to 4 right now. A 5 through 10 is no different in efforts than a 1 to 4. Dave, good morning and welcome. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Small multifamily properties, 5 to 20, strategic sweet spot.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. It's Dave Bergio, owner of Trifecta Credit Solutions. We help individuals, operators, investors, goals, bring it to capital, personal business, and business.
Dave, thank you. And what separates a acquisition of 5 to 10 unit than somebody dreaming about buying a 10 to 100, let's say a 50 unit to 100 unit? In reality, you can close quicker as a buyer in a 5 to 10 unit. If you're looking to buy that imaginary 100 unit because you took some crazy bullshit workshop, right, and paid a lot of money to go identify a 100 unit, the odds of taking down that whale is very small. The odds of taking down a 5 to 10 unit very likely you have 25% to put down. Credit's decent. The property makes sense from a cash flow perspective or a value add perspective. Let's call it what it is. Okay. The 5 to 10 unit is reality. The 100 unit is kind of a nice little, land of make believe for a lot of people that take these big workshops and think they're glorified underwriters. Okay. I get a kick out of those people. I love meeting those people. Oh, I'm an underwriter. Really? Really? Where did you work? Did you work at Greystone or Dunlop, Walker and Dunlop? No, no. I took a course on a weekend and I'm an underwriter now. No, you ain't shit. You ain't shit. Ownership in a 5 to 10 unit gets you to the next level. Okay. I had a client or a potential client call me the other day. Hey, I want to buy a 35 unit. Oh, okay, great. How many investment properties do you currently own? None. How many properties have you owned in the last 3 years? None. I sold them all 3 or 4 years ago. I said, okay, well, I property manage hundreds of properties. I'm like, why don't you partner with one of your landlords that own hundreds of properties? I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, well, you don't have any experience. He goes, yes, I do. I'm a property manager. I said, you ever walk by the gym and not go in and work out? He goes, no, but I know what you're trying to say. I said, yeah, you don't have any physical experience to own a 35 unit today from an ownership perspective. You haven't even rehabbed the property in the last 3 years, nothing. Now, if the same guy called me and said, hey, I want to buy a 5 unit, oh, by the way, he said he was liquid, whatever that means. I didn't even go into that farther in the discussion. But I went into the discussion with him to find out. I mean, what if I had the discussion? He called me and said, hey, I want to buy a 5 unit. My credit's 740. I have 25% to put down. Guess what? We'd still be in the conversation. We'd still be in the conversation. I wouldn't have ended that conversation. That conversation would have went to, let's put the deal together. Let me provide you a quote and some terms, and I'll do a write-up for you. That's the difference on a 5 to 10 unit right now for the people in reality that have some liquidity, have credit, know how to identify a good deal. Then somebody has no experience, took a workshop on a weekend, and now they want to go buy a 35 to 100 unit, which they'll never be able to obtain with the lack of experience or know-how to manage that property, and the lack of ownership experience in the last 3 years. You need to at least show that you've done at least 1 to 2 acquisitions of a multifamily building and rehab to do a rehab on a multifamily building. So if you've never owned a multifamily building, why would I give you the leverage and risk of me never getting my money back as a lender? Think about the common sense approach to what I'm talking about. Well, it's such a great deal. I don't care. It's not a good deal if I own the property back and I had to take the property back from you. It's not that good of a deal. That's the beauty of the 5 through 10 space. You could build experience, portfolio experience, and knowledge to be able to take up to the next level. Buy a couple 5 units or 6 units or 7 units or 8 units. Get those stabilized. Show a year of ownership. Then it'll give me that level of confidence as a lender to take you to the next step. Stephen, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to small multifamily properties, 5 to 20, strategic sweet spot. Steve? Steve going once?
Hear me?
Yep, got you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, sorry about that. Property. Yeah, so it's Steve Frank. I'm a broker, owner, and landlord. I've been in the 2 to 4 space forever, and I've been looking at scaling up a little bit and kind of analyzing different, different stuff. Basically, 5 to 10.
A very good point on these small conversions too. Where I see a unique opportunity is that 5 unit with a storefront, and the storefront's been empty for a year or two because it's no longer really a viable area for a storefront. It just lost its. I mean, that's half of the Northeast Pennsylvania market. How many buildings have you drive down the road and you see an empty storefront for rent, and it has a handmade for rent sign? Because no realtor wants to take that on either, because they're never going to rent it. No one's going to rent like in one of these side roads, the corner storefront anymore. That's gone. It's not coming back. Now, Dave, or I think Bob, brought up a good point by getting to know the people at the zoning meeting. That's when you can claim a hardship and convert that unit, that commercial unit, into a residential space. Now, most of the time, not all the time, is that commercial space has all the functionality of the mechanics to convert it into a stabilized rental unit, right? All I got to do is just make it look like an apartment with a bedroom and a separated kitchen or whatever they need to be compliant to the market. But I am finding in these smaller markets a little more welcoming to the hardship of that storefront that's been sitting out there for rent for 2 years, because the tax dollars are going to impact that, because that individual is not going to be able to pay the taxes and cover their nut on that deal if they don't do the conversion into a residential unit. I'm not saying do a complete conversion. I'm talking, the 6 unit with one storefront, the 7 unit with one storefront, the 5 unit with one storefront, the 6 unit with 2 storefronts. Something oddball in a very area that is never going to draw back commercial space, that you could prove the viability of. If you turn it into a residential unit, it'll be occupied almost immediately. Some thoughts to that, Stephen, and I'll go back to Dave as well, and maybe Bob touch on that.
Yeah, and that's a very important one, and because I see that a lot here, and actually I'm looking at more eastern markets as well, because I may be relocating a couple years, but and I think that the moving around what the units do is very helpful. In certain situations, like the 3 unit that I mentioned, it was always a 3 unit, and I just wanted to take over the restaurant space downstairs and expand the 3 units. And the code officer was like, "Yeah, now you're looking at the sprinkler road." I figured flash out for me. A deal. Even though I knew the city and I really felt like they would give me the flexibility because they have in the past, they have a rule of 2 parking spaces per apartment. And the bought a 6 unit was dilapidated, we brought it back to get life. They let it back to life with no parking. I went now to do the same thing with a 4 unit, just commercial space and 1 more rental.
Thank you for your additional thoughts to that. I mean, and again, Scranton Wilkes-Barre is just like any other small city town community throughout the entire country. This is not something that's just happening in Northeast Pennsylvania. This is happening everywhere. Everywhere. All these small 5 to 10 units with the 1 storefront. The financeability to a mixed-use building sucks. It's terrible. Okay. One, they want a high rate, which, not that I'm a rate sensitive guy, but the numbers don't even make a lot of sense. And then they want a higher leverage unless you go to a local bank or credit union, but then you're going into a full documented loan. You're doing a full research on your background. So that wasn't the objective to go buy that mixed use building. You wanted a non-QM DSCR loan. It doesn't exist right now because they don't pencil. They do not pencil. So this is a unique opportunity for yourself to get into that small balance, savor the market or community that you're in, and look like a brilliant add to the community by bringing back that building to a righteous space, a stabilized space, and a great building for yourself in your portfolio. I mean, these are things that you need to think about. And Steve, would like to add something before I go back to Dave.
Go from the 5 to the above 5. Your utility world changes in most communities. Your sewer under 5 in our area is billed per unit. Above 5, flat number they assign to you. And if you're paying consumables, they get a lot more painful in the bigger units because you're paying for a lot more spare space.
Thanks, Steve. Well, before we go back to Dave and Bob, we have a new guest with us, a colleague and friend of mine, Linda Pelagas. Good morning and welcome. How's everything going for you, Linda?
Oh, have a wonderful 4th of July holiday, and I hope everyone else did too.
Well, the 100-degree weather in the Northeast hasn't been so friendly. We're a little crispy up here, but it's okay. It's cooling down today. There were some storms yesterday, so we're now cooling down to about 80 degrees, but it's cloudy. So, but it was a beautiful day yesterday. I got to say, it was just a lot of people were out and about. A lot of camaraderie, the July 4th and the 250th anniversary of our country. So it was quite beautiful. So, what's going on with you, Linda, lately? Give us a little update, and then we'll talk about our discussion this morning.
Thank you so much. Yes, well, my name is Linda Pelagas, and I'm the owner of Realty411.com. We're an information website for real estate investors, and we also produce virtual and live events and have webinars so to help investors on their journey towards success. So right now, Joseph, we're concentrating on virtual webinars, which I would love to have you on. We're also starting to promote our live event on September 26th. We already have people registered from around the country to arrive in Orange County, California for our event, and we're very excited about it. So thank you for asking.
Excellent. Yeah, let me know if you need a presentation promoted out there. Our social media, as you can see, is growing quite quickly with Yordell and myself, and we're adding some players to our social media platform that's helping us enhance the brand of the podcast of Percatech, along with the white label capabilities through Percatech and the social media capabilities, as well as my nationwide lending platform. So very excited about whatever we can do to collaborate and keep the lights moving and keep the electric on is always a positive thing. So I know the 5 to 20 units a little tough out on the West Coast. Obviously, from a acquisition perspective, a lot of the California-based or West Coast-based investors go more toward the Midwest or Southeast to acquire. And I have found more of them looking at that 5 to 10 unit than the 1 to 4 unit portfolio because they're able to attract a much better power team quicker. What's your thoughts to the 5 to 10 unit space or 5 to 20 unit space, multifamily, small balance, less syndicators, less bullshit? It's just more money to bring to the table on a 25% down base. What's your thoughts on it, and where you see that going?
Well, my thoughts, first of all, is I do see a lot of investors still very active in the California market, and you were right. A lot of them are moving outside of California and purchasing multifamily in other states. I have not personally purchased a commercial property. I've always stuck to 1 to 4 units, and the reason is because I have found them to be easier to acquire financing for, easier for a down payment. And as Dave mentioned before, when you get into the commercial space, it's a whole different ballgame. The utilities are going to be much more expensive. I know the financing aspect is different as well. And I also prefer the smaller units because I find that tenants like to rent um, apartments or properties when it's really homey to them. And I find that smaller end properties tend to attract tenants faster than larger commercial apartment buildings. That's, what I have found personally in my experience, speaking with other investment have large properties and such.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you with the larger multifamily buildings because a lot of people don't want to feel trapped in one of those larger buildings. But I think the smaller balanced multifamily is a unique niche. And like it's usually a small landlord. It's not like a company. It's not like some third party that you're never going to talk to the leadership at that place ever. So that's what we're separating ourselves from. We're talking about more the small balanced multifamily, really 5 to 10. I put 5 to 20 because in the Midwest, like the Ohios of the world and the Oklahomas of the world, there's a lot of good 11 to 20 units that are they're not really big enough for agency. They're not really big enough for syndicators, but they're good enough for a small, mid-sized landlord. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I will say that the larger the apartment building, better the cash flow. Now that's for sure. You will improve your cash flow the more units you have under one roof. For sure, you will be having, better cash flow when they are all rented. That's the caveat. When you're all 100% occupied.
So I'll give you an example in Philadelphia. The average 50 unit, the occupancy is 50 to 60%. The average 5 unit, the occupancy is 80%, 85%. They're just not finding an attraction in the city to be in these big, bulky buildings. Yeah, they're offering some amenities that maybe that smaller building, but the person that lives in the smaller 10 to 20 unit building, they like having their own amenities that's local to where they live. The conveniences of a gym or a grocer or storefronts. They rather walk or commute because now there's all these bicycle racks where you can get to different locations, and they don't need all those amenities in the buildings. And I'm seeing a lot of these apartment buildings, and Philadelphia is a great example. The occupancy in the city itself, they're giving these 1 and 2 bedroom apartments away. I mean, literally giving them away. I've seen 1 bedrooms for rent for $1,200 and 2 bedroom, 2 baths for rent for $1,800 to $2,000 in the inner cities of a city like Philadelphia on Market Street. I mean, like, that's unheard of, but they can't get people to come in because a lot of those tenants want to stay in the communities. And if they have to live in a multifamily building, they don't care about the amenities. They're convenient to all the things that they need. I mean, it's just some additional thoughts. Dave, I want to come back to you because, I mean, Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton are your typical, city that's across the country, right? And they got all these multifamily buildings going up, but I still see the that 5 to 20 unit or 5 to 10 unit really staying extremely strong in that market.
Yeah, man, exactly. And I think something else to add to that too. You were talking about a lot of it.
Every time I really think a mixed use remotely makes sense, for the right investor, okay, is maybe there's a medical office to the building, okay, and like an urgent care, okay. Say it's that might make sense. Maybe a good coffee shop, or a certain type of restaurant. Maybe, be honest with you, it's definitely a different type of landlord, a different type of acquisition, and it's a different type of lending program. You got to go local bank or credit union. And that means you have to have full documentation to be able to buy the property. And most of these guys don't have it. The guy that wants to open up the barber shop, you think he has 2 years of tax returns? Come on. It doesn't even make sense, right?
No, definitely is.
This is the real question. Is the commercial component an asset, or is it creating a leasing challenge? And if it's creating a leasing challenge, you got to challenge the community to say, listen, I can't justify maintaining this storefront anymore, and I'm not going to pay taxes on it. Like, I would fight it that direction. And I'm seeing more of that happening throughout the country because, I mean, like markets like Rochester, Albany, Buffalo, I've been up to every one of them, areas of Connecticut. How much mixed use can be supported by the residential above? It's not enough. It's just not enough. I don't know what they're going to do in Philadelphia. They're building out all these residential mixed-use buildings all along Delaware Avenue. Who's going to rent all that space? Nobody's walking by those places. Nobody. So who's going to support all that emptiness? The buildings won't pencil. So from a 5 to 10 unit multifamily perspective, you're in a very unique opportunity because you got stabilized rents. You know what you're looking at in front of you. If you enhance the values of the units, you're enhancing the value of the building, you're enhancing your cash flow, you're enhancing your power team, like Bob was saying, in regards to supporting a strong cash flowing asset to yourself. Bob, some final thoughts to our discussion this morning. Small multifamily properties, 5 to 20, strategic sweet spot.
I just want to reemphasize, everything we're talking about today is not the
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Linda and Yardell, of course. As we wrap up today's discussion, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Small multifamily properties with 5 to 20 units are occupying a unique position in today's market. They often offer a balance of scalability, operational efficiency, and financing flexibility, along with manageable risk that appeals to both newer and experienced investors. These properties can bridge the gap between residential and larger commercial assets. They may bring and provide multiple income streams under one roof, opportunities to improve value through better management and renovations, and the potential to build a portfolio more efficiently than acquiring the single-family homes one at a time. Success, however, still depends on disciplined underwriting, realistic rent assumptions, and understanding of local market fundamentals, and having the right financing strategy, which non-QM provides. Markets will continue to change, interest rates will move, competition will shift, and economic cycles will come and go, but investors who consistently focus on strong fundamentals, conservative deal analysis, and long-term execution are generally better positioned to adapt regardless of market conditions. Remember, the best investment isn't simply the biggest property, it's the one that aligns with your capital, your experience, your financing, and your long-term business plan. Growth comes from making disciplined decisions repeatedly, not chasing every opportunity. I want to thank everyone today joining us at the Creative Bird Strategies podcast. We appreciate you spending part of your Sunday with us, continuing learning, continue building relationships, and continue sharpening your investment strategy. We're here the first Sunday and third Sunday of the month, 9 a.m. live on Clubhouse, live on YouTube and Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then we load up to Spotify, Audible, Amazon. All of our 160 episodes now are on a website, creativebirdstrategies.com. All 160 of them. All our events that we hold. We have several fall events coming up. We have a wine and cheese wellness networking event in October, along with a cigar event as well. We have our underwriting courses and white label courses that we offer opportunities for mortgage brokers, correspondents to white label with us, as well as referral partners to get better educated, along with investors in the underwriting landscape of non-QM lending. It's a 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. workshop on a Saturday. We have a great time. We spend all day together in understanding DSCR, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, ground up construction, the single family through space, as well as 5+ units up to about 20 units. Until next time, this is Joe Scarice and Yardell Perkins, of course, our co-founder and co-host, reminding you, analyze carefully, finance strategically, and execute consistently, building lasting wealth. And my quote this morning is something I put together this morning. The unwritten rule of success is that hardship and uncertainty often come before the biggest breakthroughs. Stay committed, trust the process, and don't give up on yourself. Your persistence today can create tomorrow's quantum leap. Be blessed. Have a great week. We'll see you the third Sunday in July. Stay cool. This is Joe Scarice, co-founder, co-host of the Creative Bird Strategies podcast. Telling you to have a great time and great day today on Sunday. We'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds, and thank you.